and we have what we consider sustainable. Begin to collect more and more data and information, I think our conversations need to reflect what are our options and what is the pleasure of the board to find consensus in how we want to manage these existing properties and the opportunities for the board that are out there with things that we may want to look to for future growth in areas where we already know we're going to need to make some adjustments to how we manage some schools in the north and in the east part of the parish, between the North Bossier, the Benton area, the Halton area, and again, keeping in mind we're going to be watching the South Bossier area as the preserve continues to build out. Just wanted to make mention to you also, we do have two existing sites that are, we have some facility usage at Cary Martin with a group out of Plain Dealing, but other than that, that's an unmanned location. And then we are currently in the process and almost finished up, having Mr. Bates, moving our parent center now to the pre-existing purchasing building just right here. We're going to make that a more centralized location. We currently have an agreement with the sheriff at the Charlotte Mitchell where the food pantry is, and so I would certainly entertain any of the board's comments in direction in how we manage that facility. The purpose is just not to leave these two existing facilities unmanned and unattended to. So that's what I really wanted to share with you guys tonight and allow our board to begin to think about opportunities that we currently have and then possible solution to these opportunities as we move down the road. And I'll be glad to entertain any questions.
Mr. Bullard.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And this, I guess, really is more a request for Mr. Cottom. Would it be possible for you to prepare, and I suspect you may already have this, Mr. Cottom, but an aerial depiction or representation of the property showing all of the adjacent property around it, identifying what surrounds these three properties?
Yes, sir. There's actually, it's kind of like what you're seeing on your screen there.
Yes, sir.
And I can get that email to the board as well.
I was going to request if you could prepare that and just get it to us so we'd have a reference going forward, because I suspect we're going to need to address at least one, possibly two of these properties near term.
This is the, Mr. Thompson has pulled up for us, again, 4900 Benton Road. Mr. Thompson, can you go to the, that's our plat for that. Let's go to the Turtle Creek site so everybody can get a visual of that. 17 acres there. Parks Road to the south. Mm-hmm. And then let's go to the last one here, sir. In this Cape of Sligo. And you can see this is our 22-acre development here that's encompassed there with the South Bossier Park.
Yeah.
And those are a good start, but just show what is the ownership of the property around it, ownership and or utilization of the adjacent properties.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Ms. Brotherton.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Would you please tell us kind of estimate about how many acres you need for like an elementary school to build one? How many acres we would need required, and then a middle school and then a high school acreage-wise?
A good plot for elementary size is going to be roughly around 20 acres. Middle schools, generally anywhere from 30 to 35, and then of course high schools we build up to 55, 50 and above.
Thank you. That just kind of gives you an idea of how much acreage we need to build schools.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Thank you. Mr. Rowland, I mean, I know that these properties have sat here for some of them over 10 years with us waiting to see what we're doing with them, and I would hopefully the next item on there will help address where the needs are so that we can see what are the options to do that to move forward. So thank you for bringing that to us. Item number 2. Request approval of geographic planning and demographic services proposal presented by Mr. Cottom.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Smith, Superintendent Rowland, committee members. Neighborhood development and parish growth is really something we track. We're constantly tracking that. So over this past year in our long-range plan development committee, I've been working a lot with the local NPCs, the Bossier, the Halton, and the Benton NPCs. So we've kind of been tracking these neighborhoods. And there was kind of a slow period, but there seems to be kind of a ramp up now. And some of these are been long proposed. They're still sitting there, but there may not be any movement on them. And this is always kind of like a fluid thing. So kind of what we've done is we've taken a snapshot of kind of a what could be if everything kind of was released. And so for Mr. Hefner's proposal, tonight I'm just basically requesting approval of his scope of work for demographic studies. His study will incorporate my currently estimated 6,100 new homes across 21 new neighborhood developments. Some of these are different phases in existing neighborhoods. Some of them are brand new neighborhoods that are just starting, and some of them are on the cusp of possibly starting. And some of these are large developments. We're talking about 300, 500, 1,200 home sites. So it's a big impact. And the majority of these developments are located obviously in our North Bossier, Benton area, Halton along Highway 80. There is some growth within Halton limits. I've got to get with NBC, get some updates on that, but they're steadily growing as well. And I just, Mr. Hefner has been doing these studies for us in the past, and this will be a key component, for us to be proactive and committed to finding these solutions, for the impacts and the growth of our parish. And and I do have the proposal there, and it does say, 120 days, but we've had some communications about having this done in 60 days. So if there's any questions from the board, I'd be glad to answer.
When was the last update that Mr. Hefner did? I know it was a census.
There was a small one in 21.
Okay.
That was really some stuff going on in South Bossier, I believe, with the toll bridge and stuff, but I think I have to get back on the last major one, because I think it was 2010? I'd have to find that out.
It wasn't that long ago.
What long? Yeah, maybe 15.
No, because we always do them before we do the
Yeah.
bond plan of a 10-year projection, and he did come back and give us an update. Do you remember, Eric?
That's 2018.
It was pre-pandemic.
It was like 18 or 19.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
Yeah, we did have a kind of a supplemental update on that growth right before COVID, because all the interest rates were down, so he did kind of a snapshot. But in those 2 or 3 years, it hasn't. Obviously, the economy just hadn't been what he thought it was going to be.
Okay. Do we have, 2021, thank you. Thank you, Stuart. Anybody else have any comments, questions? Mr. Bullard?
One comment, would you, in your conversations with Mr. Hefner, please make him aware of the fact Bossier Parish is currently in a pause
Yes, sir.
situation. There are additional developments ready to be taken before the Planning Commission, police jury, what have you. But they're being
Part of the
held.
moratorium, correct?
Yes, moratorium on it, so. Madam Chairman, are you ready to entertain a motion? If so, I'd make the motion that we recommend Bossier Parish School Board contract with Geographic Planning and Demography Services for school-age population 5-year projection for the Bossier Parish School Board as outlined in the proposal dated December 10, 24.
I have a motion by Mr. Bullard, a second by Ms. Brotherton. Please vote. Unanimous. Thank you. Item number 3, request approval of Verizon Wireless lease transfer to Vertical Bridge, presented by Mr. Cottle.
Yes, ma'am. So kind of a quick summary on this. We have 4 cell tower sites. 2 of them are large Verizon wireless sites. One's at the Besk and one's at Parkway. These are these 100-foot tower structures. The other 2, the AT&T Singular, they're the little kind of 5G towers that we have at 2 of our sites. And so Pertaining to the two large Verizon wireless, so we've been contacted by Verizon, and they've informed us that they have entered into agreement with a company called Vertical Bridge to lease, operate, and manage the sites. Verizon Wireless will still own the towers, but they're just turning it over. They're trying to get out of the business. So they're turning it over to a management company. And so basically, per our original contract, they have to request permission to transfer the lease. And as you see there in kind of highlighted yellow, this is our current lease terms and terms and conditions, and these will not be affected. So basically, we have two pieces of paper for each site that Mr. Rowland would sign, basically just agreeing to amend our original contract to allow the transfer. Any questions?
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Make the motion, committee, I recommend the Bossier Parish School Board authorize the superintendent to sign documents relating to the land lease agreement. Transfer from Verizon Wireless to Vertical Bridge at 2010 Collins Street or Colleen Street, Bossier City, and also 2900 Douglas Drive, Bossier City, as recommended by staff.
Motion and a second by Mr. Faulty. Please vote. Motion approved.
Ms. Smith, can I ask one more thing on agenda item 2? For Mr. Hefner's, can we discuss the funding options? I apologize for not bringing that to your attention.
Mr. Buller, did you have or does the board have a desire for it to come out of committed construction fund or general fund? For your motion?
Given the nature it would come from general fund, I would recommend.
Okay, and Ms. Brotherton, you seconded that? You still good with amending
That's
to
good.
that?
Yes.
Okay, please vote to amend for that to be assigned to general fund. Motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, I'm sorry about that, missed that. Item number 4, request Apollo Elementary School classroom additions, discussion presented by Mr. Roget.
Good evening, Superintendent Rowland, Chairperson Smith, and board members. I bring this item back to you from this fall, the Apollo walls. We are looking to create permanent classrooms and multiply the number of classrooms in the original building. We're looking at a total project cost of approximately $750,000 is the conservative estimate from the architect. Of course, we plan to value engineer and try and bring some of those numbers down. We're wanting to do this to help to be proactive in the growth in the area so we can get prepared for future growth. If we can add these classrooms to this main building with an older deteriorating modular building possibly being removed as these phases go through. This may be a possibly 2-year phase because of timing in the summer. We'll probably do half of those rooms this summer and then do half the next summer with time restraints that we have. So we're looking for approval of that with the funding options of committed construction fund and general fund.
And are these just building new walls, or have all new flooring,
So
what?
we're bare minimum right now. We're doing all new walls. We would, if we was going to do flooring at a later date, no, we would do that out of a maintenance fund. We're just trying to making this functional for these classrooms right now. They're using furniture as partitions, and we want full classrooms and regular size classrooms for a conducive learning environment.
And is additional air conditioning going to have to be added to these because of the layouts and the ductwork?
The unique construction of this building already is kind of like it was built for these walls to be installed, but we're not. So it was a new concept back in the 60s. So it has all the air conditioning set up for multiple classrooms to already be built in place. It has columns for the attachments for all of those. It has everything you need to just go in and really start putting the walls in. There will be a few modifications to electrical, moving some switches and what have you, but other than that, lightings are laid out, everything's laid out, maybe 1 or 2 cabinets that has to be modified, but it was pretty much designed as if walls were to be installed.
Okay. Any other board questions, Mr. Newman?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Couple of questions. What's phase 3? What's the big open area in the middle? Is that just a common area?
So in the center area, there is multiple little classrooms there that are partitioned up with furniture right now. So it says phase 3 that was put on there. I'm hoping that I can bring numbers into this project to do it in 2 phases.
Okay.
When I get the first summer's pricing, I'll really know where we land with that and determine how far we can push it.
Okay. And I don't have a magnifying glass and my eyes aren't that bad. What is the gray area? on
That's
both
just
sides?
existing.
That's
Just-
existing?
Just existing,
Okay.
yes, sir.
All right. What is the current capacity of Apollo?
Current capacity of Apollo right now is 762 students.
And what is its current occupancy?
That's the enrollment, so. Yeah, 950 is the capacity with the modular building. It is our goal to eventually remove the modular building
How long has the modular building been there?
since 2005.
2005. So we're at 950 with the modular building, and currently it's 762. And then what will these additional 27 classrooms move that capacity to?
It will be approximately the same capacity it is now without the modular building, but they will have newer classrooms permanent inside the building. They won't have to move their sped from the modular outside through the rain and cold and different situations. They will be rehoused and rearranged. Dr. Pope and her staff is here today to help with any questions with that, but I know that the discussion is to rearrange how her school functions to make it function better and safer for the children.
How many other schools have modular buildings in this parish?
I think we're down to 1, 2, I think 2. There's a third that I'm not sure they use as really classrooms. They kind of use it more as coaches' offices, I believe.
Do you mind, you know those off the top of your head?
Airline has an old modular. Green Acres has a small modular, and Benton Intermediate has a small modular. This one is showing more signs of deterioration than those other 2 small ones. They were newer models.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Ms. Brotherton?
So
Yes, ma'am.
the classrooms are there now. I've been to that school several times. The classrooms are there. We're just going to be putting walls up.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that what we're really, okay.
Yes,
We're
ma'am.
not adding classrooms. We're just putting walls up to the existing classrooms.
Right now, they use an area for a classroom that is approximately 40-something feet by 20-something feet. And we're going to create 2 classrooms out of that.
Okay.
Is what we're going to do. So we're going to bring in permanent walls, like it was back in the early 2000s. It had partitions. So we're going to bring them back to normal-sized classrooms.
Okay.
And group that staff to where they don't have to use intercoms and things to amplify their voices, amplify the learning environment. We're going to try and make it more conducive teaching environment for the staff.
But we're not adding on to the school. We're just.
No, ma'am.
taking
We're
what they
modifying.
have and modifying.
Yes, we're modifying the interior. Yes,
Right,
ma'am.
and we're doing it in phases.
Yes, ma'am. Please, yes,
Thank
ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Newman?
And Ms. Brotherton, you might be able to help with this. Is this the same situation as the library at Platt Elementary? Is it still set up as temporary classrooms at Platt Elementary with the same furniture as partitions? Because I went through that when I was at Platt Elementary.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
We don't have as many.
For the
as
most
that.
part, I believe Platt has some walls on the sides.
On the sides.
These are just
Right,
open.
And there's not as
I'm
many
talking
at
from
Platt.
exterior wall to exterior wall open.
Platt has about, probably about maybe 5 or 6.
And that surrounds the library.
Around the library,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mr. Rowland?
Just, thank you, Ms. Smith. Just want to make sure that and we'll stay on top of this, but any type of alteration to any school where we add or subtract classrooms is subject to DOJ 60-day notice, so where we get their approval before we do anything, so.
Okay. Mr. Bullard?
Madam Chairman, I would like to make a recommendation or motion that the committee recommend that Bossier Parish School Board authorize staff to proceed with this individual project at Apollo Elementary with contract amendments for design services and issue a request for quoting of the project in phases with an estimated total project cost of $750,000 to be funded by residual bond construction funds.
Committee Construction Fund,
Yes.
per DOJ approval?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion. We have a second by Mr. Faulty. Please vote. All in favor? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And that concludes Building and Ground, if there's no more discussion.
You did good.